What up, guys? Today, it's Friday, and I got some questions about the deadlift, man. And it's a perfect day to go over the deadlift because here at SJC, every Friday is deadlift day, man. So today we're gonna go over one of the most common problems I see with the deadlift, and that's people kind of yanking the bar off the ground. That's okay for lighter weights, but once you start to get heavier, you're gonna run into a few problems, man. So today I'm gonna show you how to rectify that issue with pulling the slack out of the bar. Sounds kind of weird, sounds kind of ironic, or might not make sense to you right now because a bar is a fixed piece of metal. You can't really pull slack out of it, but it will make sense when we get to the bar. So let's hop over there right now. All right, so we're here. We got the barbell here. It's only 135 pounds. So I'm gonna show you what I mean by yanking the bar off the ground. The mistake that I see a lot of people make. So, and all of this is applicable no matter what kind of deadlift you do, whether it's conventional pull, sumo pull, or you're deadlifting with a hex bar. All of them, any deadlift where you're deadlifting heavy and deadlifting for strength development, this is applicable. So I myself am typically more of a conventional puller, so that's what I'm gonna be doing here. But so setting up for the deadlift, you set up just like normal. You know, they'll come down, and then when I say they yank the bar off the ground, they kind of just tighten up and they just pull the bar up hard. They just yank it off the floor. They're kind of loose down here, and then they just tighten up and pull. Which, like I said, with lighter weights, you're okay. You won't really run into too many problems because you don't need to generate a ton of force to pick this up off the floor. But when you start to get heavier, when you start to get closer to a 1 rep max, I'd say anything you'll probably start running into issues anywhere around 70 to 75% of a 1 rep max. Then you're gonna start to run into some issues with yanking the bar off the ground like that. The reason being, when you start to get heavier, you have to generate more force in order to pick the bar up. But generating maximal force takes time. You can't turn it on like that. That's why when you see somebody pull a PR deadlift, typically the bar is moving quite slow. With just about any PR and any lift, the bar's not moving super fast like it just was on those pulls. It takes time to generate your maximal force. So, the best metaphor that I've come across over the years is in flicking your finger. So if you're gonna flick somebody with your finger, we've all flicked our brother or sister, whatever. If you're gonna flick somebody with your finger, try to flick them without using your thumb. If you just took your finger and tried to flick them, you're not gonna be able to flick them very hard. It's not gonna be moving fast enough to really hurt anybody. But if you get your thumb into play and you stick your finger up against your thumb, that stops your finger and gives you enough time to generate maximal force, so that way when you remove your thumb, your finger's moving a lot faster, generating more force, and it'll actually hurt a little bit. So, same sort of thing with the deadlift. Pulling the slack out of the bar is essentially us putting our thumb in the way to give us time to generate enough force to pick up the bar. So, this is what would happen. So let's pretend for a second that I got, 450 on this bar here. It's pretty close to a 1 rep max for me. If I had 450 on here, and I tried to pull hard, just yank it off the floor, like most people do, not the right way, what's gonna happen is, if I get down here and I go to yank this off the floor, I'm gonna pull, and my hips will shoot up, my whole body's gonna come up like this, because I haven't had enough time to generate that force yet. So my body's gonna keep moving, but the weight's gonna stay there because I haven't generated enough force to move it. So all this stuff is gonna come up, and then I'm gonna start to pick the bar up, and I'm gonna almost kind of straight leg deadlift this thing, and pray to God I don't blow a disc.
I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What, a vertebrae or what portion?
Spinal.
The way we rectify that is by pulling the slack out of the bar. I'm sure none of you have paid attention close enough, but in some of my past videos of deadlifting and stuff, you'll see when I start to get heavy, I'll actually do a couple mini pulls to start to build up the tension in the bar so I can get a feel for it. I start to kind of ramp up my nervous system a little. So pulling the slack out of the bar is real simple. All you're gonna do, so right now, I've got 135 pounds on here. I'm gonna pull on the bar with 130 pounds of force. Not enough to pick the weights up off the floor, but enough to get the slack out of the bar and start to build up some tension. So I'm applying force, but I'm not moving the bar yet. That's me essentially sticking my thumb in the way, and now I'm giving myself enough time to start to generate that force. So I come down, and the best way you know if you're doing it right is you actually hear a click. You hear the click of the bar coming up to meet the weights, but not picking the weights up off the floor. So you get set, get tight, you hear that little click. That little click, I'm pulling, the bar's coming up to meet the weights, there's zero slack in this bar now. Now I can generate that force, and then when I'm ready to pull, boom, then you can pull hard and fast. Once you get that slack out of the bar, that's when you can pull hard, pull fast, and essentially yank it off the ground. But you gotta stay tight, man. So that right there, that's pulling the slack out of the bar. That gives you enough time to start to build up enough tension and to build up enough force to pull safely. Because you don't wanna be Halloween cat in your deadlifts, man. It's bad. Like I said, this is applicable. If you pull sumo, it's the same thing. Get your stance set, come down, set yourself. You pull the tension out of the bar same way, and then come up. Hex bar deadlifts, it's all the same. But that's what pulling the slack out of the bar is. That is a better way to deadlift, a safer way to deadlift. And you'll actually be surprised that you'll actually get stronger once you get used to that a little bit. Like I said, you're able to generate more force if you're doing that. So give that a shot, guys. Let me know how it goes. Start tagging me some of these PR deadlifts you're hitting. I want to see them, man. Deadlift's my favorite lift. I love deadlifting. That's why we do it every Friday here at Steel Jacked City.